Welcome to That's What She Said, where we'll spill the tea on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region with your host, Christiana Malacara.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to That's What She Said with me, Christiana Malacara. I am your host each and every week for That's What She Said. We've hit our year. We've extended our year. We've had an amazing time so far, just sharing wisdom, words, stories, all of the great things from women across the region in Michigan, the Great Lakes Bay region. And I have just learned so much about what women can offer. If it is a piece of advice, if it is a story of maybe a troubling time, or even if it's a success story, right? Let's just celebrate those things with them. And I want to say thank you to you as our listeners, as our viewers for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, like I said, my name is Christiana Malacara, and I deeply enjoy the fact that you are here pouring into yourself, making that investment, that deposit into you, so that way you can have a better tomorrow. So the ways that you can listen are on the radio waves on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. or Sundays at 6 p.m. at 100.5 or 790 on the radio, or WSGW.com. Anywhere that you would like to listen to your podcast, we are there. That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara. And then social media. If you are watching us, it is most likely Thursday at 1:30 on the Facebook page or YouTube. So now that we got all those things out of the way, I kind of said it already, but the celebration of wins, right? Recently here at the station, we've had a big celebration, and it was something that was like, oh wow, this is just this huge accomplishment. But then you think about 1 year. Well, we went from point A to point B in 1 year. And then if you look further into that, maybe this 1 month was just really successful. And then this one day really just, someone planted an idea and it just blew up from there and was amazing. And then you go down even further and say, this one person said to this person, which formulated that idea, which made that week successful, which ramped up the team and made this month amazing, which made this quarter of the year just top notch. And then that led us to a phenomenal year. Now, if you just take all those years and pile them up, isn't that an amazing feeling? But it started from somewhere. So celebrating those wins, yes, when they're big, but also celebrating those wins when they're small. So you can take that and implement that into your work environment. Yeah, that's fine. But you can also, if you're a mother, if you're a parent, you know what? Hey, we got everybody off to school on time. Yes. This is going to make for a great day for them, a great week for them. If if you have a significant other and maybe, you're hitting your anniversary coming up soon, or a momentous day, or you've overcome an obstacle, take that as a celebration, as a win, and sit in it for a moment. So as you move from That's What She Said day to the next, please just take a moment and see what are those wins in your life and how can you help other people celebrate their wins as they move through their week. So I have a really great guest for you guys today. And she was a little hesitant. I'm going to say she was a little hesitant coming out. She's like, me? Not me. No way. Without further ado, I have Kristen Squires with us. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I am excited, even though I was hesitant. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, the reason you were hesitant was you said, "Why me? What did I do?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "What didn't you do? What are you?" I mean, the glow that you have about you is something that radiates on people without them may not even know it. And everyone has a story to share. And this is what I told her. I said, everybody has a story to share. So let's just chat. So would you introduce yourself and tell us how the community might know you?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for sharing the space to be able to share this story. But I'm Kristen Squires, and people may know me by my career. I'm currently the marketing director at the Dow Event Center. But I've had jobs in all over the Great Lakes Bay region, in Midland and Bay City. I've always been in marketing, so I get to be in the community. I get to meet a lot of people. And so I've absolutely loved working in the Great Lakes Bay region. But people might also know me because I'm a mom. You mentioned celebrating the small wins and getting kids off to school. I did that successfully this week. So
Good job.
But I've got 2 little ones with my husband. They're 10 and 8 years old. So I've been able to build a great network of other moms that I've become close friends with. So people might know me from that. People might also know me as a volunteer. I've been a member of the Junior League of the Great Lakes Bay region for 9 years now, and I'm the immediate past president, which I'm very proud of. I'm also part of a committee that plans a fundraiser in the Great Lakes Bay region for Make-A-Wish Michigan. So I've been involved in that for a few years now, and that committee. So I love just being involved in this region and helping move it forward.
You're the definition of a busy mama.
I sure am.
So I'm really glad you got the kids off to school on time in one piece.
Yes.
And I'm sure that one day when they look back, they'll appreciate that. Because I know as I get mine, hey, let's get up. Let's, brush your teeth. Did you get your shoes? All these things, I got your lunch, running back and forth. They're like, oh, Mom.
Oh, the sighs, or the I know, Mom.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
I get that all the time.
Even though you're repeating yourself. It's like, I know.
Uh-huh.
Well, I do too.
Yes. And if you knew, then why did I have to say it? Right?
That's a good point.
Uh-huh. I hope they appreciate it someday. I know that I have appreciated things that my parents have done for me as I've gotten older. So hopefully that's the case when they grow up too.
So you're at the Dow. You're at the Dow Event Center.
Yes.
Okay. What do you do there?
I am the director of marketing. So I get to tell everybody about all the fun shows and events that we have coming up.
You get to share.
I get to share. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
I just started there in February. So it's been 6 months officially this month. So still new. I'm still in my learning curve. Haven't been there for a full year. Haven't seen like a full season. But it's been amazing. I used to work in events marketing, got out of it for a little bit, and said, you know what, that's really where my passion is. That's where I want to be. And so when I saw this opportunity come about, I had to jump into it, and I had to get back into the events marketing world, and it's been a blast.
And that's what I was going to ask is when you applied, because women see jobs listed on LinkedIn or, wherever they, word of mouth, honestly, a Facebook post, what made you apply to that job?
Yeah. Well, I think it was really sitting down and asking myself what's next, because I'm at that point in my career where I want to be intentional with what I'm doing, and I want to make sure that the work that I'm doing is something that I love, because I spend a lot of time doing it. I read a stat the other day that you see your coworkers more than your family and friends. And that's certainly true. So I want to make sure that I'm doing work that's meaningful and impactful. So I really sat down and said, what is that next chapter for me? And so I did a lot of self-reflection and thinking about what I really enjoy doing, and that I came back to this space. So when I saw that job posting, it wasn't exactly the job that I was hoping for. It wasn't the title I was hoping for, the pay I was hoping for, but I said, that's where I want to be. And so I applied anyway. And I said, if this is meant to be, it'll work itself out. And it did.
Okay. So there's this list of things that anybody should have in their head, right? Of their priorities, of what's, top of the list and bottom of the list when applying for a job.
Yeah.
What does that list look like for you? What is ideal for you?
Yeah. So my list it doesn't necessarily have to do with salary. That's not what fulfills me. What fulfills me is more of a sense of community and collaboration. That's really where I thrive. And so thinking about different industries that I could be in, and that I have been in, I really wanted to make sure that that was a big part of the role. So looking at how can I really get involved in my community and make a difference in my community and make it a better place, or make it as good of a place as possible. That was really important for me. Another thing that was important is looking at culture of an organization. So how do people interact with one another? What are those standards? What are those expectations of what a team is? That's really important, again, because you spend a lot of time with your coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming into a culture that is supportive and collaborative was really important to me as well. So looking internally and externally at the role and making sure that it kind of fits with my core values. So that was kind of part of my self-reflection when I was looking at this role and into it, was first figuring out what are my core values, because I want to attach myself to an organization that has similar core values to mine.
That's really good advice to share, because there's so many people that are, in this age group of what do I do next? And that question always comes up with career. So where was there somewhere that you existed in that work environment that didn't align with your core values?
Yes, it was. And it made it difficult to work there. It's difficult when you have conflicting values with maybe the person who owns the business or who is at the top of the business. It's difficult.
How do you remove yourself from that?
I think it's just making a decision that it's time to move on and make yourself happy. And that's not an easy decision to make, because you have a lot of different factors involved. In my situation, my coworkers I really enjoyed working with, and the actual work itself I really enjoyed. But because I had conflict with those core values, I kind of didn't feel satisfied. I didn't feel fulfilled, and it made me unhappy ultimately, when I really sat down to think about it. So I had to do a lot of self-reflection and thinking, okay, what do I really want to do? And so I just had to make the decision. And one thing that I've found over and over again in my career is that manifestation of what you want is pretty cool. When you put your mind to something and you want it, you can go out and make it happen.
Wow.
It might not happen in the timeline that you think. It might not happen in the way that you think, but it will happen if you really, truly want it. And I've seen that over and over again in my career. I've been very blessed with that, but the power of deciding and manifesting yourself is pretty cool.
That's strong. It is.
Yeah.
It is. On this, on the show, we've learned that. So let's go back to that values portion, because those vary between people, but those also vary, and I'm using the word very intentionally, as chapters of your life. Those can shift in chapters of your life as you, move through, right? At one point you were a student, and then, a spouse, a mother, and now, here we are collectively growing all those. So today, what do you say are some values that you hold near and dear to your heart?
Yeah. In all relationships, the number one value that I've found for me that's most important is honesty. That is huge for me. It's something that I'm always honest. I'm an open book with everybody that I meet, and I want honesty in return, and I want those open, honest relationships. So honesty is number one for me. Communication is also big. I think it's part of the reason why I'm in the line of work that I am.
Marketing, go figure. Okay.
So being able to communicate authentically with the other person or the people that I have a relationship with is really important. And then fun. Fun is a core value for me. I don't want to take myself too seriously in this life. I want to be able to have fun. And again, so when I was looking at this job, that was a core value. I was like, I want to have fun in my job, and I want to bring fun to other people's lives too. And so I'm blessed to be able to really match up those core values with my role that I currently have and I get to do every single day.
So I know this about you. I know that you went to CMU. I went to Western, but
Oh,
we're not going to talk
no.
about it. I know.
We didn't talk about
No,
that
we
before
didn't.
this.
No, but I thought I would be honest with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We can still be friends, whatever.
Yeah, we
But
can.
when you were at CMU, you studied the thing that you're doing now.
Yes.
And that's a unicorn. I mean, it's so rare that this is, still happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a funny story of kind of how I fell into that too. I had
Say it.
no idea what marketing or public relations or communications was before I went to Central Michigan. It wasn't even on my radar. I was an athlete. I grew up playing sports my whole life. I played soccer, basketball, and then all the other sports that you can think of. So I thought I want to be a, physical therapist or something in the realm of sports. And so went to freshman orientation and I missed the bus for physical therapy. I don't even know why. I think I was using the restroom or something. I don't know. I missed the bus.
Wow.
And the only bus that was left was to go to the Department of Arts. And that was, music and theater. And I was like, well, I cannot sing. I can't dance. This isn't for me. So there was one classroom left. And in that classroom, they were talking about public relations and marketing. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go see what this is all about. And they talked about the degree and what it entailed. And I was like, it was literally like something opened up inside of me. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And so that's what I've continued to do.
You literally missed the bus.
Yes.
Then you thought, option B, no way. This doesn't fit even things that I enjoy, the fun, right?
Yep.
And then so you went to option C and we're like, we'll hear him out.
Yep.
And that was it. That was your aha moment.
It was. It's pretty crazy, but it was like meant to be.
So there was just a sequence of no's that got you to a yes.
Yes.
And we're still here.
Exactly. It's pretty crazy.
I'm a little in shock. Yeah.
I can't think of many other times in my life that something like that has happened. So it just makes me think someone or something was watching over me and directing me down that path.
Yeah. Why do you think that happened?
Yeah. That's all I can think of is that somebody, a higher power or someone was watching down and was directing me that way. I don't know, but it's worked out and I absolutely love it. I don't want to do anything else. It's been my passion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's women have this almost this doubt within themselves a lot of times. If it's in career or at home or, going to make a decision.
Yeah.
Do you ever have doubtful moments in your career?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
So I talked about, how I left events marketing for a little while and decided to come back. I was doubtful that I was in the right industry. So I think it was because it was my second job out of college. I got into it. I was there for almost 9 years. And I was a new mom too, on top of it. So there's a lot of events and things that happen on weeknights and weekends. And every time I had to leave my kids, I was like, oh, I feel so guilty. I don't want to do this.
Mom guilt. Yeah.
Yeah. The mom guilt hit hard. And so I doubted where I was at that point in time. And then I went and worked at some other small family businesses and did some other things for a while. And it just, like I said, wasn't fulfilling me. And that's when I decided to really reflect and say, what do I want? And it was back into the events marketing industry.
Was it at that time that you thought to yourself, let me establish my top core values here?
I don't think it was at the same exact time, but it was something that definitely came into play. I think because I was feeling unfulfilled, when I was reflecting, I was like, I have to start at the beginning and I have to figure out myself before I can move forward. Because if I don't figure that out, I'm not going to move forward in a purposeful way.
Where did that thought come from? Because there's so many times that, you just keep going, what's the next thing I got to do?
Yeah.
And it's usually for other people.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something I've had to unravel myself, of listening to my voice inside my head and not listen to what everybody else thinks. It's something that, I don't know if it's human nature, it's something everybody struggles with, but something I've struggled with for sure. But friendships, talking to close friends, reading books. I'm a lifelong learner, I like to call myself. And so I read a lot of books, listen to a lot of podcasts. I've done therapy. And between all of that, it just really helped me kind of figure out, pause, take a moment to reflect on what I want and who I am.
To pause.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do.
So here we go. We're talking about books and podcasts. I know you listened to That's What She Said. So what are some of your favorite books?
So this is one thing I prepared for this because I wanted to share.
I told you not to. Okay,
I know, but I had to, because this is how impactful this book was.
All right.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey was a life-changing book for me. I had always heard about that book. It was on my list to read forever and ever, but I just never did. So finally, I was at this point in my life where I was like, I need to figure out who I am and I need to pause. And I decided to open the book finally. And it was another one of those kind of lightning strike moments for me. And it has changed me. And I just read it a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we are going to take a pause.
Okay.
And we're going to come back. We have Kristen Squires with us. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the 7 habits of highly effective people. And then we're going to dive a little deep into one of her I don't know, what did we call them? Like one of these goals, right? We have honesty, communication, and then fun. So we're going to dive a little deeper into that fun portion, because she's a pretty fun chick, guys. So thank you for tuning in to That's What She Said, and come on back to the second half shortly as we continue our conversation with Kristen Squires.
That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara is back. Now let's spill the tea.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of That's What She Said. Thank you for tuning back in and continuing the conversation as we sit down with Kristen Squires. She is just a powerhouse of knowledge, and I'm excited to have her across the desk from me today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
So excited to be
Guys,
here.
she's adorable. I love her. I love her. There's this amount of confidence that everyone carries with them, right? And sometimes that confidence is internal and kind of like, I got this. And sometimes you can actually feel it when people walk into the room. And this woman, you can feel it when she walks into the room. She's confident. And then if you're someone like me, you take the energy from other people and it helps you go through your day. And we were just talking about this before we got in the mic. I said, how's your day going? And you're like, busy, but good. It's a good day.
Yes.
So before we had a quick break there, you were talking about a book that you recently opened in the past couple of years here, and it's called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. What are some of the major takeaways that you'd like to share about that?
Yeah. So the first one is, what it taught me was to live out of my core values. And so what that allowed me to do was not think about all of the external inputs that come at you on a regular basis, between people's opinions and what they say and what you think that they might be thinking, or what's on social media, playing the comparison game, which is so easy to do with social media. You see your friends or your coworkers doing this and that and succeeding, and you're like, I should be doing more and more. That was something that I struggled with. But what this book taught me was to say, okay, everybody has their own unique perspectives, opinions, life experiences, thoughts. There's nobody else like you. So what are those things that matter to you? What what can you bring to the table and what do you want to do with it? And that's all that matters. Nothing else matters. So when I started thinking about those core values and what I wanted to bring to the table, nothing else mattered. And that was huge for me. The other takeaway is to begin with the end in mind. And this isn't something that I gleaned just from that book. It's also something that a marketing guru that I follow, Seth Godin, talks about as well, beginning with the end in mind. So when you think about what you bring to the table, whether it's to a job, something big like that, or even just to a conversation or to a friendship, begin with the end in mind. What kind of energy do you want to bring to that? Do you want to be the person who shows up and they're like, oh, what kind of mood are they going to be in today? Is it going to be,
who am I getting today?
Yeah. Which personality am I getting? Or do you want to bring an energy of making that other person feel engaged and welcomed and safe and happy? And, what kind of energy do you want to bring to that? And so I actually wrote down in my phone, I have a note, and it has my core values and my kind of life mission in there, a short version and a long version. And it's just something that I revisit every once in a while to remember what, in the end, how I want people to remember me.
Wow.
What I want to bring to the table.
Because you're over here saying, I'm going to begin with the end in mind. So this sounds, my mind instantly went to the fact that you made a strategic plan for yourself. And
I did.
And every quarter we're revisiting this, we're bringing the committee together and was like, are we hitting the key points on our strategic plan here, Kristen? Yes, we are, Kristen.
That's so true.
What can we adjust, Kristen? Well, we're pretty on target, Kristen. Okay.
That's true.
Which is a wonderful idea. I mean, because if you think about it, the most successful businesses, they're constantly revisiting their strategic plan to make sure their agenda, if it's their financial agenda, their community output agenda, like everything is on target because they have the end in mind. Yes. So when you are making a decision or making a call, or can you share a time where you thought, I want to make this decision, but let me think of my end in mind first?
I don't know if I have any big examples off the top of my head, but
small sign.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just in showing up every single day on a consistent basis and how I want to show up in every aspect of my life. So when I'm thinking about a phone call that I don't want to make, right? We all have those little things that come up throughout the day, maybe that we're just like, I don't really want to do that today. I kind of think about, okay, but this is how I want to show up. This is how I want to be, and this is who I want to be. And so I need to take a minute to reset, get myself together, and then do the thing that I don't want to do. So it's also about that consistency for me and just always kind of bumping up against the uncomfortable with just doing that, because it's hard. We all have things on a regular basis that we don't want to do, and it's hard to do. But when you kind of put all of those excuses and all of those other things aside and you think about, okay, what's my end goal here, and what do I want to do, those just kind of melt away, and it makes it a little bit easier.
How important is it to be consistent?
I think it's really important. And I think that that's something I am good at because I did grow up as an athlete, and you have to be kind of consistent, and you're always in practice, and you have to show up to school, and you have to do all these things. But I've found that when you put one foot in front of the other and you take baby steps and you're consistent, you don't have to do anything big, grand, but when you show up on a regular basis and you're consistent with how you are, it makes a difference. And you talk about that energy and how some people have that energy that they bring. And I think when you're consistent with that energy, it just makes it more natural. It just makes it easy every time that you do it. So it's something that I just think about all the time.
I think when you show up and you're consistent, over time, you're right. It becomes a habit. It's more natural that we are expecting, the same person to walk in the room every time, but you're also creating a baseline. And then that baseline grows a little bit each year. If that's, how I started out the segment by saying, is this, each day, each week, each month, each quarter, each year, your baseline is going to keep growing.
Yep.
And then before you know it, you look back and you're like, look how much I've moved. Look how much,
Yes.
the needles moved here.
Yes, exactly. And that it's funny that you said a strategic plan and I revisit it every quarter because
This is
I
hilarious.
do.
We got to keep this running. Okay. This is becoming a thing. Yeah.
I go back and I set goals for myself every year. And again, I make sure they're in line with what I, want to accomplish in life. But I'm so glad that I do it and I take the time to do it because no matter how busy life gets, I'm able to be intentional with what I'm doing. So I have a planner that I use on a regular basis, but it goes through all of the buckets in life, between family and friendships and work and volunteering and hobbies. And I make sure that I'm looking at each one of those buckets on a regular basis to say, okay, I'm really heavy in career right now. And maybe when I'm not, I can look more at friendships. So who do I need to connect with? Who do I need to reach out to? Who do I need to re-engage?
That's pretty intentional.
It is very intentional.
Where did that habit come from? Because that had to have come as something you learned. Someone teaches you this.
Yeah. So it came from that book. The book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People does talk about that and how you can be more intentional with your time, because it's so easy to just let the day-to-day, time is a thief, right? So time goes by so fast. I can't even believe how old my kids are. And when you get busy with your kids' activities and your own schedule, it's just time goes by like that. It's so quick. And so if you're not intentional, and I got frustrated because I just was like, felt like sand slipping through my fingers, of what am I doing here? And it was something that I just kind of struggled with. And I said, there's got to be a different way. And so I just started researching, and that's when I started the self-reflection and just started consuming a lot of different content, and came across this planner that really fit what the book talks about, with breaking it down into buckets and focusing on things that aren't necessarily urgent, because we all have those urgent things that pop up on a regular basis, and those can be big time sucks. They can really take a lot of your time and energy. But it's looking at the things that are more important than just the urgent things. What are the important things in your life, and what do you need to do to accomplish your goals?
Wow. That's great advice for people in general, but women who do have these multiple buckets that we need to pour into. Mm-hmm. And I say need because you have to. Yeah. And then there's these ones that were like, oh, let's volunteer for this because I choose to. Mm-hmm. Right. So we're giving ourselves more work. So during this time, and you were very descriptive, you said it's, it felt like sand was slipping through my fingers. Yeah. That had to have, gosh, I felt it when you said it. That had to have been dark, a dark time for you to recognize that. But who were the people in your life at that moment that encouraged you and was like, hey, you got this, Who was that?
I think my close friends, really. I have my best friend who is also my mentor, that I can really dig into and talk to about a lot of this stuff. And she's a little bit older than I am. And so she's went through a lot of the same things. And so she's able to kind of say, hey, well, have you thought about this? Or, she can kind of help me take a step back and think a little bit differently, because sometimes it's hard to get out of your own way sometimes, and think differently. So having that person to really be able to open up with and have those conversations has been important for me. So having close friends
that's good advice too. Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. This is wonderful. So, we talked about core values in the first segment. For those who are just tuning in, I have Kristen Squires with me, and her core values are honesty, communication, and fun. And I'm going to have to think about what mine are, because fun's really high up there for me. But the other two are great too. But fun. What are you doing for fun?
Yeah. So I do things that fill my bucket. So one of the things that I consider fun that maybe other people don't consider fun are exercising, and I do that through playing sports. So I still help coach my daughter's soccer team. I like running. I like going to workout classes. So that's kind of my me time. I love reading. I read, not just books on self-development and, I do read the fun, like beach reads and things like that. But I love being at events, and I love attending different concerts and shows, and I love Broadway, and being able to just experience all the different genres of arts and theater and performances and things is just, that's fun. I love it. And so I have found that I also connect my friends with fun.
Okay.
So I'm usually the one that comes to the table with like, hey, we should try this cool new thing.
Let's go do this.
Yeah. It's not just like going out to a bar, which nothing wrong with that, and having drinks, but like, let's go to this fun show or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned soccer quite a few times, and you also shared that you were a student athlete.
Yes. Yeah.
That within itself is an entire job. And now you have little ones who are athletes as well.
Yeah.
So how, okay, first of all, I'm going to say it. I say it every episode. That's a huge ripple effect of you were an athlete. Now your children are athletes in your coaching.
Yeah, I am.
Do you enjoy that?
I do. But I've been asking my daughter, because I coach her in soccer, do you like mommy being a coach? Being your coach?
What does she say?
She loves it right now. She's only 8.
Right now.
So right now. But I know that there might come a day when she's like, no, I don't want you to coach me anymore. And that's okay. That's okay. I know that kids go through that period of time where they want to separate themselves from their parents. So that's all right.
So on the soccer field, okay, because I have little ones who are in soccer too.
Okay.
I'm not the coach. I know nothing about soccer, but on the sidelines, I act like I know everything about soccer.
It's hard not to get sucked into the game.
Oh, I am the loudest. I think no other mom sit next to me now. It's all good. It's all good. Not worry about it. But when you're the coach, though, that's different than being the mom.
Yes.
So what kind of coach are we? Let's talk about that.
So, well, first of all, I always tell my daughter, like, when we step out on the soccer field, I become your coach. I'm not your mom. So I do have to like kind of set those, not that because I don't want to treat her any differently. I don't want other girls on the team to see me treating her differently or anything like that. So I'm like, just so you know, we got to set this boundary. When we're on the field, I'm your coach, not your mom. But part of the reason I love coaching is because I think for little girls, especially, it's all about kind of the culture of a team. Yes, it's about learning the basics of the game and improving your skills, but it's also about feeling like you're a part of something and building a culture of support. So I'm that coach who's going to support and always be like, oh, good try, but next time let's focus on this. So I always try to bring a positive, fun energy to it, because I want to set that culture for the team that they're just going to grow their love of the game and their love of being on a team, whether it's soccer or not, because they might grow up and learn to love another sport, but hopefully we can get them to love being on a team and love being part of something like that.
A sense of belonging.
Yes.
A sense of belonging, and then also working together.
Yes.
I can see that. So your daughter plays soccer, you're her coach. Not on the field, you are not mom. But if I had her sitting in this other chair right here, what are some of the things that she would say about Coach Mom?
That's a good question. I honestly think she would say I'm a fun coach. We just had this conversation the other day, actually, and she said, you're fun, Mom. It's fun for you to be my coach. So I think I'm achieving that goal of bringing some fun. And she would say that I'm a good coach. She enjoys being pushed. And so she likes learning new things. And that's what a coach does. A coach has to expose players to things that they haven't tried before. But to be able to do that, again, it goes back to creating that culture and environment where they feel safe to try something new and not be afraid to mess up or make a mistake. And so I love to hear her say, I love that you make me try new things.
She sounds a lot like you. I think you just described yourself.
Oh my gosh. That makes my heart so happy.
Because you stepped out of a career and then back into a career after trying something else. And then you're pushing your own boundaries by establishing boundaries.
You're so right. You're right. I never thought of that. I did. I stepped outside of it and I came back into it. And that is something that I do. I push up against the uncomfortable and I do kind of test my boundaries and my limits. And I enjoy doing that. But I never thought of it that way. That's, look at me. I'm taking something away today too.
This is an absolutely beautiful conversation. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about just you in the last few minutes here. What do you see next for you? And it doesn't even, maybe not career, maybe in your family, maybe your self-growth. What is something that you see yourself doing next?
That's a good question. I just went through all this. And so I'm like, I'm good where I'm at right now.
We already did the strategic report back.
Did
the SWOT analysis. We're good. Okay.
Exactly. But I will say, I think it's going back to what I said and being involved in my community and making it as good of a place as possible for myself, for my kids, for that next generation. And so whatever that is, that's what I hope to do, is help move this community forward in a positive way and make it a better place to live, work, and play.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you're already doing the thing.
Yeah.
You're already doing the thing. So for those of the listeners that don't, maybe they don't know, but the Dow Event Center, can you just tell us where it's located and what kind of events you have?
Yeah, so it's located right in downtown Saginaw, and it's a really cool venue. We have an arena, we have a theater, we have an outdoor event park, we have some other really cool spaces. So it's a really unique building, and we have the ability to have lots of different events. So we have, of course, the Saginaw Spirit OHL hockey team that skates in our arena. We also are able to bring in touring Broadway productions. We have comedians. We have rock concerts.
What's been your favorite event so far in the 6 months you've been there?
Oh, I mean, I did say I love Broadway. So we had Pretty Woman, the musical, which was super fun. Yeah, loved that. We also, a new show that I had never heard of was called Rock Orchestra. So it was an orchestra on stage and they played rock music, just the orchestra.
That's pretty cool. Maybe you should have gotten on the music and arts bus in college.
I cannot sing. Nobody wants to hear me sing.
I'm just throwing it out there. But here in the last minute, I'm going to ask you our question. What is a piece of advice that you would pass along to a woman in the Great Lakes Bay region?
Don't doubt yourself. You have, there's nobody else in the world like you. So don't doubt yourself. You bring a unique perspective, unique experience, unique thoughts and opinions to the table. So use your voice, be empowered to speak up and believe in yourself.
That's wonderful advice. Thank you for sharing. For those of you who are listening, that was Kristen Squires, and that's what she said.